Welcome to the third week of class. This week's topics focus on deviance and social problems.
Is that why I am dressed in police uniform and you are dressed as a lawyer?
Exactly. Here are a couple of interesting facts from our readings on crime. Violent crime has actually decreased in recent years. Actually, crime against property is more likely to happen than crime against a person, but we in the United States are more concerned and worried about crime on ourselves.
It is interesting how the news portrays crime. People are more nervous about conventional crime than white-collar crime.
This is a great point. However, our textbook states that white-collar crime is much more of a threat, and 1 in 3 households are victims of white-collar crime, yet only 41% report it.
I can see how our use of technology really increases this risk. What about victimless crimes? Is there such a thing?
Victimless crimes is a type of crime that does not necessarily have a victim, such as loitering, public indecency, possession and use of illicit drugs.
I see. How does the criminal justice system deal with criminals?
Great question. The most common interventions and processes for the system to deal with criminals is deterrence, protection, retribution, rehabilitation, and community-based corrections.
I suppose the criminal would be sent to court, similar to this room. One deterrent is the death penalty. This is providing a punishment that hopefully will deter the person to commit the crime in the first place.
Yes. If that does not work, however, and someone does commit a crime, they will be a part of the protection aspect of our system, such as jail, the death penalty, monitoring criminals once released, and placing sexual offenders on a registry.
The very thought of someone having harmed another person disgusts me.
I know, but if someone does the crime, they will most certainly do the time. In this case, that refers to retribution. They will pay back society for the harm they caused. This is community service, jail time, or fines.
What about rehabilitation?
Rehabilitation is when the goal is to prevent the offender from offending again by going to therapy, education classes, skills training, or having experiences that make them change and be more responsible.
Does this reduce recidivism?
Ideally, some parts of this system will reduce recidivism, which is when an offender goes back into society and reoffends again. Our textbook states that 2/3 of state prison inmates were rearrested for serious crimes within 3 years of being released.
Maybe community-based services such as community service hours and outpatient treatment would help decrease this rate.
Perhaps, but deviance unfortunately exists.
How can we stop deviance?
Good question. If you were looking at deviance from the functional perspective, you would look to Emile Durkheim.
Who?
Emile Durkheim was a functionalist and stated that if we did not have deviants, we would create them because we need them.
That seems absurd. But when I think about it further, if we did not have rule breakers, we would not see the importance of rules themselves.
Exactly. When the norms are violated in a society, those members of society who did not violate the rules and codes of behavior now know what might happen to them if they do.
I see. How do the conflict theorists view deviance?
Another great question. In a brief summary, Marx believed that the people in power label people as deviant based on their own prejudices and moral code. For example, he believed that the poor and less powerful end up in prison because the more powerful and rich make the laws.
I see. So if someone who does have more power and is accused of a crime or deviant behavior, they might have the resources and power to sway public opinion away from them being seen as deviant.
Yes, although that is just scratching the surface in terms of both functionalist and conflict views on crime.
Wait. What about the symbolic perspective?
Symbolic interactionists believe deviance and conformity arise in the response to others. Howard Becker, a symbolic interactionist, stated that what is perceived as a social problem or deviant behavior may be any behavior that people so label. For example, homosexuality was once a diagnosis in the DSM-3R and was deemed deviant behavior. Now it is not in this diagnosis book and is not deemed deviant by many people.
Wow. There is a lot to learn about this subject.
Unfortunately, I have to end now, but I look forward to our class discussing these topics. I hope this helped in creating your responses to the discussion questions. Bye.
Thanks so much. See you in class.